Hello everybody, so today I'm going to be telling you all about the new releases that I'm really anticipating that are coming out in 2022. There are so many amazing sounding books that are coming out next year, and honestly I will not be able to read them all. I've tried to narrow it down to like around 20, so this video isn't like way too long. There are so many more books than I mentioned that are coming out next year that just sound really cool, but these are definitely the ones that I'm most excited for and that I think I will prioritize over others. So I will be going through these in order of release month. So the first book that I'm really looking forward to just has a general release year of 2022, and that is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. I am simultaneously really dreading and am really excited for Heartstopper to come to an end. I love this graphic novel series so much. It is really beautiful. The artwork is so cute. It really explores things like coming out and sexuality and eating disorders, and it's just really beautiful, and I have absolutely loved reading them over the past few years, and I can't believe the last one is coming out, so definitely excited for that one. Next up in January is Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shauna Maguire. This is book 7 in the Wayward Children series, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of put this on here because I'm still really anticipating it, but I do really need to catch up on the series because I've only read like the first like 5 books and I haven't read book 6 yet. The Wayward Children series is a series of novellas, and it's really beautifully written. It's basically a fantasy series that explores what happens to the children of Portal Fantasy and where they go, and it explores different worlds, and it's just really well done. It's so much fun. I love it. In February we have Ophelia After All coming out by Raquel Marie, and I feel like this has already come out for some reason, but I think it's just because I have seen it all over Twitter for like the past year, and I'm just really excited for it. Ophelia After All is a YA contemporary. It could probably be described as like a rom-com, and it follows Ophelia, who is a queer teen girl, and her life just kind of starts spiraling out of control. And yeah, it just sounds really fun, really cute, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book I'm really looking forward to is pqIKR by Kit Mayquist. So this book sounds like it is like a queer gothic thriller, and it just sounds really cool. It's about a girl named Lena who is a med school dropout. Her family is on the verge of bankruptcy, and she is really desperate for a job. She ends up getting a job offered to her from like a really rich wealthy family, and she ends up discovering later down the track that they are hiding really sinister dark secrets, and that they might have had something to do with the downfall of her family. When I first saw this on Goodreads, I was first attracted to the cover, but I just think it sounds really cool, and I absolutely cannot wait for this. I think it's going to be such a good time. I cannot wait for this one. Like, I think this is probably like at the top of like my most anticipated, and I definitely find it one of the most intriguing. Now in March and April there are so many amazing sounding books coming out. It's gonna break my wallet, but that's fine. So the first book that I'm really looking forward to that is coming out in March is actually one that I've already read technically, and it has technically come out. That is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This one is being republished by Tor, and it's going to have a beautiful hardcover. It's going to have new illustrations. Obviously it's probably going to be, you know, slightly different with edits and whatnot from the publishing house, and I'm just really looking forward to having the hardcover in my hands because I love the Atlas 6, and I'm just really looking forward to see what changes they make. The next book that I'm really looking forward to is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin, and this one is a YA fantasy. It has the most stunning cover ever. I think it's so colorful and so beautiful. This is about Ning, who loses her mother, and she blames herself because she brewed the tea that killed her own mother, and she ends up entering a competition which is being hosted in the kingdom, to find the master of the ancient and magical art of tea making. The winner of this competition will receive a favor from the princess, and so she ends up traveling to enter this competition, and it goes from there. The next book I'm really excited for is Gallant by V.E. Schwab, and this one is another standalone by her, and I haven't read like all of her books. I really need to catch up on a lot of her books in the past, but from what I've read of hers, I have enjoyed her writing, and I'm just really excited for a new book by her. Next is The Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller, and this just sounds so freaking cool. To put it simply, it just says The Bone Orchard is a fascinating whodunit set in a lush gothic world of secrets and magic, where a dying emperor charges his favorite concubine with solving his own murder and preventing the culprit, which undoubtedly is one of his 3 terrible sons, from taking control of an empire. And I honestly just read that first like sentence of the synopsis when I was looking at books, and I was sold. I think it sounds so cool, and I'm so intrigued by solving his own murder. Like, I'm a little bit confused, but I'm eager to find out. The last book that I'm really excited for in March is A Novel Obsession by Caitlin Barash. A Novel Obsession sounds absolutely amazing. It is about an aspiring novelist who finds herself stalking and writing about her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. It says, I can't help but compare our worth as writers, as lovers, as women. Is anything solely mine, or will I always dwell in someone else's shadow? That alone really intrigues me. It also sounds like it's about obsession and manipulation, and it just sounds so cool. So I'm very excited for that. In April, there are also lots of really good new releases coming out, and the first one I'm going to be talking about is An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. This is described as Romeo and Juliet meets Chinese mythology, and it follows a boy named Hunter Yi who has perfect aim with a bow and arrow, and everything else in his life goes wrong, and he's really sick of being haunted by his family's past mistakes. At his new high school, he ends up meeting a girl named Luna who is dreading the future and feels really stifled by her parents' expectations. They end up having to kind of depend on love and on each other, and things go wrong. It kind of sounds like a contemporary setting, but with really fantastical elements, so I'm really intrigued to see how that one turns out. Next up is Electra by Jennifer Saint. This is her second novel, I believe. I haven't read her first one, Ariadne, and I have heard it's really good though. This is basically another Greek mythology retelling about the house of Atreus, and it just sounds really cool, and I'm just really looking forward to reading like her work all together. So I really want to get my hands on Ariadne first, and then hopefully Electra, and I'm just really excited about it. Next up is pqIKR by VAISHNAVI PATEL, and this one I haven't really seen many people talk about. This one is another mythology retelling kind of novel, and it is about a girl named pqIKR who is the only daughter of the kingdom of pqIKR, and she's raised on tales about the might and the benevolence of the gods. Despite being raised on all of these stories, she ends up watching as her father banishes her mother and sees her worth being reduced to like nothing. It's like a really long synopsis, but she basically wants to gather some measure of independence after watching her mother being banished, and it just sounds really cool. And I think it's another standalone as well, which is cool. Yeah, it's a standalone, so that's also really nice. Next up is The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about what to expect from this. I had so much fun reading her first novel, Let's Talk About Love, so I'm really looking forward to this one. It is an adult romance, and it has a asexual main character, I believe. Yes, a asexual main character who is secretly in love with her best friend Malcolm. Then we have I Am the Girl in Your House by Maria Ramasco Moore. This is about a girl named Pi who is invisible in a world obsessed with appearances. It is a story about love and friendship and learning to see yourself, and it just sounds really beautiful. I think it's a YA as well, like a YA fantasy, but it just sounds really intriguing, and also the cover is stunning. It is just so gorgeous and I'm really excited for it. Next up we have Reader, I Murdered Him by Betsy Cornwell. This one sounds really cool. It's like a really short synopsis so far. Honestly, this one is another one that's like way up on my list of anticipation because it sounds so fucking cool. So this is about a girl who becomes a teenage vigilante who roams Victorian England using her privilege and power to punish her friends' abusive suitors and to keep other young women safe. And I think it's just going to be a fun time. In May we have Book of Night by Holly Black, and I'm not gonna lie, I have not looked at the synopsis for this book, but I just read all of the Cruel Prince trilogy finally in 2021, and so I am now obsessed with her writing and I just want to read it. I think it is an adult fantasy as opposed to YA fantasy. I really only just discovered her in 2021 and I'm so glad I did, and I just can't wait. Like, I think it's gonna be really good, and I really slept on the Cruel Prince trilogy. I want to get on the hype train straight away and I'm excited for it. Next we have Ikishara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This is Casey McQuiston's third novel. I have read her other two and absolutely love them so much. This is a YA sapphic romance and I'm gonna devour it. Like, I am so hyped for this. The cover's gorgeous. I've loved both Red, White and Royal Blue and One Last Stop, and I'm looking forward to this one too. In June I am looking forward to The Woman in the Library by Solari Gentile, and this is a thriller mystery, and I really want to get like more into thrillers. Like, over the past like year or so I've kind of been like reading more and more out of my comfort zone, and I'm still not like all there with thrillers, but this one sounds really intriguing. So it's set in a library and the peace and quiet is interrupted by a woman's scream. The security guards make everyone who's there, you know, to stay put, and then four strangers end up meeting and they're wondering what's going on. They're all at the same table and it turns out that one of them at that table is the murderer. In the month of August I'm really looking forward to The Feeling of Falling in Love by Mason Diva. I absolutely loved Mason's debut novel, I Wish You All the Best. I thought it was such like a warm hug. I love the writing, I love the characters, and I just honestly I love that book overall. It was just such a beautifully well done book. I just thought their writing was really beautiful and really easy to read and really digestible as well. So I'm really looking forward to see what else Mason comes up with. And then finally in October there are two releases that I'm really looking forward to that are coming out. The first one is The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake, and I'm hoping this one still comes out in October next year because obviously the Atlas 6 comes out in March, so I'm hoping it's still on track for the sequel to come out in October, but we'll see. I just really need to know what happens after the events in the Atlas 6. This is the sequel to that, and I need to know what happens and I need more of the characters, and I'm just so excited. And then there is Silverborn coming out in October as well by Jessica Townsend. This is the fourth book in the Nevermore series. This is a really beautiful, magical, whimsical middle grade series and I love it so much. Like, it's such a well written, fun series, and if you're looking for something that has like, you know, Harry Potter vibes, but you don't want to touch Harry Potter or promote Harry Potter or anything like that because of She Who Must Not Be Named, I highly recommend Nevermore. Like, it's arguably a lot better as well. It's just so fun and so well written, and if you like any sort of middle grade, it's such a good time. And also the audiobooks are really good, so I'm very much looking forward to So I'm very much looking forward to the 4th book in the series. So they are all of the books that I'm really looking forward to in 2022. I hope I made sense. I tried not to ramble on too much, but also I still wanted to give some sort of a description. Let me know down in the comments below what you're really looking forward to in 2022 and what your most anticipated releases are, because honestly, like, I found a whole bunch that I'm looking forward to, but I'm always willing to see more, and whether there are any more that I'm really excited about and what you're excited about. And I think it's just going to be a really good reading year. I'm so hyped. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you would like to as well. I hope you all have a fantastic and safe new year. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.